I'm MHA Executive Director Kathy Rogers, and I'm just so happy that you have joined us for our 7th annual Wake Up for Wellness. I hope you leave this morning inspired and lifted up. And while we can't be together in person, I hope you'll share your comments, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Let us know where you're joining us from and give us your reactions to what you're experiencing this morning. I have with me up on the stage this morning Rob Jones, MHA's board president, and Heather McCulloch, incoming board president. I want to give a big thank you to Lake Forest Church for donating this beautiful venue, their talent and technology to host this live event for MHA. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize our corporate investors who help underwrite event costs and support our programs throughout the year. Our advocacy leader, Novant Health, Anti-Stigma Champions, Carolina Complete Health, Chicago Title, Positech, and William Blair and Company. And thank you to our corporate wellness circle members, Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, Elliott Davis CPAs, and the Anxiety and OCD Treatment Center. We're going to be opening our event this morning with a live performance from Aaron Maynor, a 2012 Dove Award nominee and a worship leader here at Lake Forest Church. We'll be followed by welcome remarks from incoming board president Heather McCulloch. And now performing Bloom, here's Aaron Maynor.
Have you ever heard you are beautiful? I know your worth, but you don't see it at all. After the rain has fallen down, the sun comes out. Just keep believing, you'll see a new season soon, and you're turning into something amazing. Baby, you were born to bloom. Bloom, bloom, bloom. I wish you could see you were made for more. Your wildest dreams can't compare to what God's got in store. Someday soon you'll kiss the sky like a butterfly. Just keep believing, you'll see a new season soon, and you're turning into something amazing. Baby, you were born to bloom. Bloom, 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 bloom. Bloom, bloom, bloom. Yeah, 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 yeah. You were made to bloom. Just keep believing, you'll see a new season soon. You're turning into something amazing. Baby, you were born to bloom. Oh, just keep believing, you'll see a new season soon. You're turning into something amazing. Baby, you were born to bloom. Bloom, bloom, bloom. You were made
Kathy. Thank you for that introduction. And Aaron, thank you so much for sharing your amazing talent with us. What a beautiful way to get this morning started. And as the song lyric said, I too believe that we'll see a new season soon. In fact, the reason we're all sitting here is we're now seeing this new season. It's such a joy to welcome you all to our 7th annual Wake Up for Wellness event. Our theme this morning is Bloom, a morning of renewal and resilience. And it resonates with me in a very deep and personal way. While I was a student at the University of Georgia, I learned that my younger brother, Holden, had died by suicide. Those were some of the darkest days of my life and in the lives of my parents and my older brother, Heath. And while I know how critical mental wellness is to our community and to our country, it's often very personally painful for me to discuss the why of my involvement with MHA. For many years, I chose to work silently behind the scenes, but stepping out of the darkness and into the light has given me the resilience I've needed to take the next step in this journey. As the incoming president of MHA, I want to continue to become more educated about how I can help others, guide them to the resources they need, and most importantly, open up a conversation. Because while I was staying behind the scenes, I wasn't addressing the one thing that continues to keep people from seeking the help that they need, and that is stigma. MHA's vision is to eliminate, not reduce, eliminate the stigma that continues to surround mental health, and that can only be achieved through open and honest communication. I challenge all of you who are with us this morning to join the conversation and to work with MHA to normalize mental health and wellness. Become involved, become educated, become an advocate for all those who are struggling with their mental health. Bloom, a morning of renewal and resilience. I love that as a theme for our time together this morning. Through my work with MHA, I have felt renewed and have an even greater sense of purpose and urgency around this work. And my resilience, it's stronger than ever. My brother Holden was such a gift in my life, and I owe it to him to help others when and where I am able. And this morning, I lift up my parents who are joining us virtually, Bob and Brenda Layfield, who are living examples of John Wesley's words. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you can. Thank you for being with us this morning. And at this time, I invite my fellow board member, Dr. Reverend Claude Forehand, up to the stage to provide our invocation.
Good morning. Let us look to the Lord in prayer. Most gracious and holy God, we thank you for this day that you have allowed for us to come and to gather, to deal and to talk about things that are absolutely important and relative to this community regarding the mental health. We pray that as we invoke and invite you in, we welcome you into our hearts, that our minds will be open to receive the stories that will be shared, the information that will be discussed, so that it might inspire those who are listening to be more involved, to become more aware, to advocate for mental health services. We pray that as this service continues, this Wake Up for Wellness, that it may stir within us a spirit that is awakened to the realities that exists all around us, and that we might be ever more sensitive to their needs and ever more sensitive to your guidance as instruments to address those needs. So God, we pray that as this continues, let it continue with the direction of your Spirit and in the grace of your love. For it's in your name we pray and believe it to be done. Amen.
Thank you, Claude, for that invocation. Now I would like to show you how we are putting your generosity and investments to work through our Compare and Parent Voice programs. But first, I'd like to hear from one of our major grant sponsors, United Healthcare.
As a company, United Health Group's mission is to help people live healthier lives and to help make the health system work better for everyone. To ensure that happens, we look to partner with organizations that have the same goals, and Mental Health America of Central Carolina shares in that mission. Collaboration is key when it comes to big ideas. No one organization can do it alone, and that is why we are honored to support programs like Come Here and Parent Voice, which are critical to building resiliency and helping our communities blossom. It goes without saying that with the pandemic, many people are experiencing a new normal, with altered routines and added stress, making these resources so invaluable today. At United Health Group, we are committed to getting through this difficult time together, and will continue to support our members and high-need communities across the country and here in North Carolina. On behalf of United Health Group and more than 6,800 employees and contractors in North Carolina, we want to salute Mental Health America of Central Carolinas. We look forward to continued work together to improve access to and delivery of community resources that are the gateway to overall well-being and encourage mental wellness for all North Carolinians.
A compeer is basically a person that is your friend, and later on the best friend, someone that you can rely on, that you can talk to and gain their trust and start learning things that you might once thought was impossible. The first time I met Grayson was actually during the fall, I believe. It was somewhere in October or November. I was highly nervous. We went somewhere, I believe it was the park. I can tell she was friendly, she liked to joke, she liked to talk, and we had a lot of things in common, which put my mind at ease. Grayson has helped me be with my self-esteem. She has inspired me to be myself. She also inspired me that I can work, actually work on a job and be able to enjoy it. Like, if she can do this, I think I can do this too. I've been working since November the 6th of last year. This is my first job and I enjoy it. I love the people I work with because they are very supportive, they're understanding of my circumstances. And having them in my first job has made me really proud. It also making me more responsible in ways that I have to be. My health has improved. So has my mental health. Both of them has improved. Haven't had a seizure in almost a year, a little over a year now. And being able to talk about things to her has really helped, because usually I have it bottled up and I just keep it bottled up until I just explode later on. And having her to be able to talk has brought that down considerably. We always talk about how we met and how different we was before we met and how it changed our lives. I'm grateful for her friendship. I have blossomed with having Grayson as my friend. She has given me that upside that there are not a lot of people that's going to hurt me or bully me because of my mental illness. Not all people are bad. Not all people that are my age are bad. Not all of them are going to be bullies. Not all of them are going to try to hurt me. Grayson is my best friend. I do not consider her as a compeer. I don't consider her that anymore. I consider her as my friend. And my best friend at that, someone that I can always rely on. That's what Grayson is to me.
I don't know how times we take her to the emergency room. And I mean, they live in there for months. One time was 1 month, another time was 3 months, but it's just in and out of the hospital.
It was a struggle. It was frustrating just trying to find out what was going on. They would treat her like a bad child, like if she was just a overage kid that didn't, I guess, was having behavioral issues, but without a diagnosis.
And it was hard because I remember I take her before the diagnosis of autistic diagnosis. I take her to one emergency room here, and oh my God, that made me so no angry, so sad at that moment because I mean she was very aggressive, and they just like a lot, maybe eight I think, or more than 8 person hold her, and she tried to bite everybody, scratch everybody. So the security slapped her on her face, and a lot of blood came out. And I even can, like, oh my, yeah, that was so hard for me.
We found somebody that cared. It was a relief, like we can finally breathe, because even though, after hearing no so much, just the simple fact that there was somebody out there that really cared about it, that really cared about our situation, it was just a like weight taken off our shoulders. Everybody had given up basically on Andrea, and just the simple fact that we can hear that, yes, we can help. We don't know what the outcome is going to be, but we can help. I mean, that was huge for us. That was a blessing that Mom had been praying for. She basically, I mean, it was literally, she was always not just an advocate, but it felt like we had an attorney by our side every time, because literally, I mean, they would bring up something in the IEP meeting, and Amy always had an answer. That's how dedicated she was. She always had an answer for everything.
And at that time, we was having a lot of trouble especially with the school.
They would not take her because of her delicate, her seizures and her epilepsy, everything that was going on.
So,
but now it's different. For example, she went to school this morning, and she can actually do a full day of school, which beforehand was impossible. I can tell you firsthand, I've never met somebody as dedicated as MHA. And when MHA came along, we weren't really expecting anything. We were just expecting another agency. And the way we felt, another agency that was trying to profit. And this was not the case with MHA. You guys really do care.
And I pray a lot on the
Mom
day.
is a person of faith. And when I say a person of faith, she prays like you have no idea, to bring people in Andrea's path, Amy, and oh my God, I'm even getting chills because this is...
I told you when Amy came, I told him, God is listening.
Yeah.
He's listening to us because I feel God sent us. Amy.
Thank you so much. You make a difference, Amy, and thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing those amazing stories. Imagine a disease that impacts millions each year. A disease that takes an average of 132 lives a day that could have been saved. A disease that affects 17% of our youth, 6 to 17 years old, and 70% of youth who are in the juvenile justice system. Imagine a disease where 24% of adults go without the care and treatment they need, while 60% of our young people do not receive treatment. Imagine a disease that impacts 1 in 5 of our neighbors, our loved ones, our coworkers, and still many of us are afraid to confront it or talk about it. Mental illness has been an epidemic for generations, and it is past time to give it the attention needed. Over the last year, significant financial and human resources have been injected into our country and community due to the pandemic. There has been a rush to create treatments and vaccines for COVID-19, and we've seen a collective effort to combat this insidious disease, and rightly so. But now is the time for you to join a collective response to the mental health crisis facing us today. Loneliness and isolation, depression and anxiety are not new concerns. Prior to the pandemic, we were living in a world where human connection was already at a deficit, and we've only seen it escalate in the past year. And I'm not diminishing the impact of COVID on our community. They have been truly devastating, and they have elevated mental health challenges to the forefront. The pandemic has tested our resilience, and it is our resilience that has gotten many of us through these difficult times. At MHA, we have struggled with the rest of you, but I would also say that we have strengthened our resolve to offer help, provide hope, and promote mental wellness in Mecklenburg and Cabarrus counties. Throughout the pandemic, MHA has maintained its previous level of services, albeit virtually, while continuing to find new ways to connect with those in need. Last April, our education team quickly pivoted to online QPR suicide prevention classes, and MHA is a leader in delivering the newly adapted virtual mental health first aid curriculum. And along with these two evidence-based courses, we've been offering workplace wellness webinars, and we're so excited to now have a full-time bilingual mental health educator who is strategically reaching out to the Latinx community. Our Compeer team has been offering weekly virtual wellness groups for adults who are living with a mental health challenge. They have sent out regular care packages over the past year and to make regular check-in phone calls. We all know how impactful just knowing someone is thinking about us and cares about us can be for our mental wellness. MHA's Parent Voice team also quickly adapted to virtual support groups, increasing online support for parents and our youth. And as you just saw from this moving video, family partners continue to work tirelessly with parents and caregivers who are often feeling lost and hopeless, with MHA acting as the lifeline they need to get help for themselves and their children. We continue to advocate for improved mental health systems and held several virtual town halls in 2020, focusing on mental health parity and the importance of telehealth, especially during the pandemic. We hosted our annual legislative event in 2021, bringing together legislators, community leaders, subject matter experts, and those with lived experience to focus on involuntary commitment, the need for more mental health caregiver support, and the need to study racialized trauma. In addition to everything MHA offered pre-pandemic, I'm proud that we have been able to implement new programs and services, including a free short-term counseling program for youth and adults who have been impacted by the pandemic. We've created a virtual series called Mental Health Matters, exploring various mental health topics with experts, providing information needed to navigate these challenging times. We're embarking on a partnership with the Urban League of Central Carolinas to support women re-entering the workforce, and we're partnering with Mecklenburg County to support older adults. These are two groups who have been disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. And adding to the layer of suffering from the past year, we know we have faced so much social unrest and racial violence. Knowing that racism and racialized trauma are detrimental to the mental health of our Black and brown brothers and sisters, MHA has created a work group to explore this issue and how it intersects with our mission. And finally, through the generous support of a Vanguard Hometown Grant, MHA will soon be launching an exciting new website with greater ease of navigation for those seeking help and more robust resources through our emotional toolboxes for building resilient communities. I recently came across this comment from conceptual artist Barbara Bloom. When the Japanese mend broken objects, they aggrandize the damage by filling the cracks with gold. They believe that when something's suffered damage and has a history, it becomes more beautiful. Now I'd like you to imagine a world where we honor our scars and embrace our imperfections. Imagine a world where mental health is treated and talked about just as we talk about our physical health. Imagine a world where treatment is received early on, vulnerability is recognized as a strength, and we are all able to live our best lives. Imagine a world free of stigma and full of acceptance for who we are. That's the world MHA is striving every day to create. And we welcome you to join us in this important work. I thank you again for being with us this morning. And now it is such an honor to introduce our next speaker and a true champion of mental health, Paul Gianfrido, the President and CEO of our National Mental Health America affiliate.
Thank you, everybody, for attending Wake Up for Wellness this morning. Oh my goodness, what a year it's been. We have been through more during the course of the past year than we ever could have imagined. Not just the assault on our physical health and the assault generally on our well-being, but the true assault on our mental health has been unprecedented and truly dramatic. I mean, just to give you an idea, we have seen some of the highest rates of mental health concerns in our population that we've ever seen before. Nearly 50% of people reported having either anxiety or depression during the course of the past year. And many of these effects have been concentrated on our youngest and most vulnerable citizens as well. We've seen at Mental Health America that upwards of 50% of our 11 to 17-year-olds who interact with us through our online mental health screening and resources have told us that this year has brought to them thoughts of suicide or self-harm frequently on more than half the days of the week. We've never really had to deal with this before. We've never really had to express these kinds of concerns before, and we've really never even had to take the time to understand not just how important this is to our recovery, but how much opportunity this means we have to work together in order to make a difference in people's lives. May is Mental Health Month, and it's been Mental Health Month since 1949, when then the National Mental Health Association, now Mental Health America, proclaimed it as such. A little bit later on, got President Eisenhower engaged in making Mental Health Month the most recognized and understandable mental health event, an awareness event in the course of the entire year. Mental Health Month is now celebrated by tens of thousands of organizations literally across the world. And it could not have come at a better time than it has come this year, as you all know. Finally, we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Finally, we are seeing significant numbers of the population fully immunized against COVID-19. Finally, we're beginning to see the rates of death go down. And finally, we are again beginning to see, at least here, rates of disease beginning to go down. We certainly can look forward to a brighter summer than we experienced last year, and I think we're going to be able to look forward to a brighter fall as well. And that's, again, what makes this work we do so important, because while the physical symptoms of this pandemic are going to abate. And the physical experiences that people have, the physical health side, they're going to be put in the rearview mirror over the course of this year. What a lot of people don't yet understand is how important it is for us to work together to make certain that the end of the COVID-19 pandemic is not the beginning of a mental health pandemic that we have not only in our nation, but throughout the world. See, a lot of people think that the mental health side of this, the anxiety, the depression, the post-traumatic stress, even the psychosis that people have felt during the course of the pandemic is just going to go away magically on its own when COVID-19 goes away. And certainly the pandemic has been a precipitator of the mental health impacts. So there's a lot of reason why people may want to believe that it would be true that the mental health side would just disappear along with the physical health impacts. But this isn't the way mental health conditions work. You know, when a young person begins to develop anxiety or depression for the first time, if it's not treated, it tends to grow. You know, the next trauma that young person faces really is additive, adds on to the prior trauma someone has experienced. And then the one after that adds on to that. And the next assault on mental health adds on to that as well. That's why for many people, the traumatic impacts of events like this aren't going to be seen during the first year. They're going to be seen during the second year, the fifth year, the first decade, even the second decade after exposure to a trauma such as this. So what that means for us is the importance of really pulling together and giving all we can to this effort this year to make sure that we address and mitigate the mental health effects of this pandemic as early as we possibly can. As I like to say, mental health conditions have been the only chronic diseases in America that as a matter of public policy, we've waited until stage 4 to treat. And it's past time to deal with mental health conditions the same way we deal with every other chronic condition in America, and that's before stage 4. And this is the work that all the MHAs are doing. This is the work you're really called to do with us today. This is the work that we're doing that we hope you will help out. You know, we hope that you will give to this effort of your time, talent, and treasure as much as you can, because it will make a difference. The work that you do will make a difference. It is making a difference in so many lives today. It has made a difference already in so many lives. And there is the opportunity to take this beautiful spring and this bright summer that is coming and make certain that we can do as much for the people coming forward as we have for the people who have come through our doors and lives in the past. Let me tell you, this is personal to me. So much of the work that's been done by local MHA, so much of the work that's been done by so many others who are invested in protecting and preserving the mental health of our population has in the past protected and preserved the mental health of me and my family members. And so what you do and what you offer to do today is incredibly important to people like me. And I can't thank you enough for putting the time in, for putting your talent in, and for putting your treasure into this common cause and common struggle that we all must make. Thank you very much.
Kathy and Paul, for your inspiration and leadership. And Paul, we wish you all the best on your upcoming retirement. And we want to let you all know that we are just halfway to our goal of $50,000 this morning. We urge you to contribute and make an impact and help us not only reach that goal, but go far and above it. We are so lucky to have such amazing leaders on both a local and national level. All right, up next, we want to share some additional ways that MHA is putting your generous investments to work through prevention and education. Take a look at these inspiring stories from Fonda and Jim.
And I remember taking my first QPR class as just taking it to get more education. And I just fell in love with the steps and the procedures and the person who taught the training. And I kept saying, you know what, I want to become a certified QPR instructor. But at the time, my finances were like really bad. And every time it would come up, I'd say, man, I want to get this training, I want to get this training. And then one day, Mental Health America was offering scholarships. And I reached out and I sent in whatever information they needed, and I got a scholarship. And that was my road to starting to become a QPR suicide prevention instructor. But I had no idea it was going to take off like it did. So I will always be grateful to Mental Health America for giving me that opportunity, that first step to become a certified instructor, and for me to carry on by helping others to learn how to save a life. And by the time I finished training on December 19th of 2020, I had trained over 1,000 people from 25 states and 5 countries. And I was so proud because that is over 1,000 people that can and will save a life. Because the more people train, the more lives saved. When you look at the stats for youth and how they're dying by suicide, if you give the youth the education, if you give youth the training, they can save a life by going and telling an adult. That's the difference between QPR for youth and QPR for adults. We urge youth to go and tell someone so they can get them the help. What makes me so passionate about suicide prevention is I'm a survivor myself. You know, 26 years ago, I almost died by suicide. And if it wasn't for a true hero, my Aunt Kelly, my Aunt Spanky, I would not be here. And I know that that pain, you know, a lot of people think we're weak, we're selfish, we're crazy, we're none of that. I had no idea that I was dealing with clinical depression. Suicide is the most preventable death of all deaths if people would just care about getting educated. The first line of defense with suicide is just caring, simply reaching out to someone, asking them, how are you doing? Are you okay? What can I help you with? Just simple things, something that we've been taught over and over as children growing up: kindness, empathy, compassion. A smile can hide a lot of pain. And for me, I take it very personal because I know that if my Aunt Kelly saved my life, that anyone can save someone's life. So my mission has been to get out here, to educate people, to put it in their hands, to let them know that anyone can save someone's life simply by knowing the signs and caring about their fellow man. When I designed my wristband, I said, what would you want yourself if you were in crisis, if you were having a bad day? What would you want people to know? Number one, I always want people to know they're not alone. I know sometimes that we feel like we're alone when we're struggling, but you're not. I have to remind myself of this some days. Help, hope, recovery. People don't really realize we can recover. And as long as we have hope, we will fight. And the help, again, it comes back to Mental Health America, going to their resource page, knowing the resources in your area where people know where to go get help. So this wristband alone, with the information it has, that can save a life. So I can't be with everybody 24 hours a day, but when I put this wristband on someone, I know that if they're going through something, that Ms. Fonda is with them in spirit and they can get the help that they need.
This spring is very important to me because this is my 5th anniversary of my attempt that's coming up very soon. And because of things I have been able to learn, things I've been able to do, things I've been able to share because of MHA, I feel like I've got a new sense of life, and I'll always be grateful for that. One of the first things that we did when we got involved with MHA, my wife Lori went with me to the first coffee and conversation I attended. And from that, we went to QPR, which is suicide prevention training. That was, in a lot of ways, a very transformative experience for both of us. She got to understand better some of the things that I went through and was thinking prior to my attempt, a better understanding of what to look for, not just for me, but for friends. And then I followed it up with the full-day mental health first aid training. I've had the opportunity to be the person on the other end of the line for some folks that were really struggling. When you get a phone call from a friend and they're telling you they have the gun in their hand or they have the bottle of pills, if I hadn't had the training, I don't know that the results would have been the same. That if my friends would still be here if I hadn't learned the steps to take. Getting that education and having those conversations so you can understand, it makes it so much easier. It makes every day easier when you get some sort of understanding. The very first thing I did as an MHA storyteller was for a WSOC mental health special. As a result of that, I had, over the last period of time, about 100 people reach out to me, and they all wanted to share their story too. Me sharing my story allowed other people to share theirs. The worst day of my life was not the day I attempted suicide. The worst day of my life was when I woke up the next day, having to tell my wife what had happened. The day after was the worst day of my life. But because I woke up, I've seen my children graduate from high school, from college. I've seen my daughter get married. My son move on and find a direction for his life. I've seen my wife just continue to be the amazing person that she is. I've got to see so many things and experience so many feelings because I failed. And now, looking back, that very worst day of my life is the greatest blessing I've ever received. I believe that the real power that MHA has is to let people know they're not alone.
I don't know about you, but that gave me chills. And Jim, I'm also thankful that you woke up. And Fonda, we appreciate the work that you're doing in the community. Over 1,000 people. That's an awesome testimony. Your investment in MHA is literally saving lives. Did you know MHA educated and raised awareness for over 1,300 community members last year alone? It was about 5 years ago where I sat where you sat, but sort of sat where you sat. I was in a room with hundreds of people and we were eating breakfast and things like that, but you know, it was my first Wake Up for Wellness. I came into that event feeling very heavy. I was dealing with two brothers who were in crisis at the time, and I didn't know at the time that I had some undiagnosed mental health challenges myself. I just felt like I was fracturing and I couldn't talk to anybody about it because the stigma associated with mental health, because the stigma associated with being a Black man. And, you know, in our community, we're told to pray about things and not go seek help. And then also the stigma about just being a man, like you're supposed to muscle through things, right? And I didn't feel like I could muscle through. I didn't feel like I could get through. I didn't have any idea how I was going to get through. I just tried to, you know, get up each day and be the best I could be. And coming to that Wake Up for Wellness, it freed me. It freed me. It allowed me to go to therapy. It allowed me to get counseling. And when I fast forward and I look at my life 5 years, you know, now to where I am today, being out front, being an advocate for mental health. We use words like authenticity, be your authentic self when you show up in different places. We use words like transparency. But you can't be transparent. You can't be authentic if you're not allowed to be vulnerable. Out of all of the great things that we do at MHA, the one thing that was not said is that we create safe spaces for people. It's important. It's important not to miss how important it is to have a safe space to say that you're not okay. By me being a leader of my family and being out front, saying that I'm not okay, I didn't have that freedom without being around these people who allow me to not be okay. I recently had a niece who was acting out, and they sent her to Charlotte to spend time with me. And she hears me on the MHA calls, and she hears our board members and staff members tell their stories and how they talk openly, honestly about either the mental health challenges that they personally experience or their family members, their why. And so she recently came into my office and she said, I've been struggling with depression. And just by her saying that, it freed something in her. And I saw her start to smile more and start to be a little happier because I was able to give her a safe space because MHA created safe spaces for me. Just last week, or maybe it's this week, my son came in. He had asked for our medical information. And I said, what's wrong? He went to his primary care physician. He never asked for it. He's 19. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what was wrong. Because he's 19, I don't get the right to pry into his medical history. And so he came into my room this week and he said, I went to the doctor and I got antidepressants and I haven't been okay. And the next day I talked to Kathy about it. And for me, as a parent, you want your kids to be okay. And sometimes with mental health, you wonder, what does the win look like? What does winning look like? And that's what it looks like. It looks like saying, I'm okay, I'm not okay, and I need to go get help, to be okay. When I was a kid, there was these things people would challenge you, they say, well, put your money where your mouth is. As an adult, I learned to put my money where my heart is. And my heart is with MHA. I learned to put my money where my hope is. And my hope is with MHA because they have a love for what they do. They firmly believe in the mission. And you heard what Heather said earlier. She didn't say we want to reduce the stigma. We want to eliminate the stigma. Because whether you have a diagnosis or you have a moment in time, you're going to have a mental health challenge. And in that moment, you need to be able to say, I'm not okay. You need to have those safe spaces in order to say that. So I'm urging you to make an investment into MHA. I'm asking you to join me. I'm a 1933 society member. Whatever your level of commitment, we made it easy today. You can text MHA Bloom to 71777. You could talk to your table captain if you somehow don't get this information. But I'm asking you, if you can, to make an annual commitment at whatever level that is for our 1933 society members. We ask that you give $1,000 a year for 5 years in a row. You can give 1,000 or more. And you can do that, $1,000 one time, or you can do it in monthly installments. If you feel like, you've been moved to do more, we ask that you give, $5,000 a year, and that's our recovery level. And then you can also give $10,000 or more a year for our well-being level. The work that we do here at MHA is vitally important. Of all the things that you can do, mental health ties it together. It's the singular thing that will make the biggest difference in your life. And now at this time, I'd like to turn it over to my fellow board member, Logan McCoy.
I am honored to be a part of MHA's board this year. I was first introduced to MHA at their 2019 Wake Up for Wellness event when I joined the Circle of Hope Young Affiliates Society. Fast forward 2 years, and now I'm helping lead the charge of developing this important group of young philanthropists. I think it's critical that my generation lead from the front of the mental health movement by not only taking care of our own mental health, but by pushing the conversation forward and talking openly and freely about our mental health. That's why I'm asking you to join me by making a donation of $100, $250, or whatever you're able to give during this time. I know my own mental health was tested during the pandemic, and I am still concerned about all those who are out there struggling and need our help. So select Circle of Hope when you fill out your form, and I look forward to seeing you at our next quarterly gathering. And if that wasn't enough, every Circle of Hope member gets this awesome t-shirt that you can see Brianna displaying here. Thank you.
Thanks, Logan. Every donor who has made a gift today, consider how you can offer your support. We appreciate your donation no matter what the size. We know that giving in any event is very personal. So we ask that you continue to give if you have given to MHA and make it personal. Maybe you've decided to donate your time. We've seen what donating your time can mean to our compeer volunteers, making friends and changing lives. And we also have many other opportunities for MHA as storytellers. Just visit the MHA website and click on the link, get involved. Thank you so much for taking the hour to learn about the exciting work that MHA is doing in our communities and joining us for Wake Up for Wellness. We are very grateful for your support and hope you can take the time to continue more about some of the life-saving skills through our MHA's free programs. In order for your family members, friends, co-workers, and neighbors ever need help, we want you to have the opportunity to stand in the gap and be there for them. Kathy, you want to close us out?
Sure. Thank you, Rob, so much. And I want to give a special thanks to Kira, Cecilia, Andy, Fonda, and Jim, who all shared their personal stories of resilience with us today. I do hope you'll stay with us for a few more minutes. The next 15 minutes, you'll hear more from these inspiring individuals. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. For those who have already made a gift, thank you so much for investing in promoting mental wellness in our community. I'm not sure where we are in our fundraising yet, but we hope to really exceed that $50,000 goal because the need is so great. For those who haven't made a gift, there's still time, and we appreciate your generosity, and we wish you a renewed sense of hope and resilience until we see you again.
We didn't know what to say. We didn't know this is, okay, we edit this probably, but thank you so much. We didn't know what to think. It's been amazing, and when you first came in that door, Amy, I was like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. You ain't even in that basket. I was, oh my God, thank you so much, Amy. Like from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. This would not be possible if it wasn't for you. We really thank you guys for being there for us, for having our back more than anything.
And now even my mind is more clear and my mood is better. I used to be like very sad all the time and hopeless for the situation. I mean, sad the most of the time. But now I feel like hope, and I feel like Andrea has
a better future, a bright future ahead of her. Like she actually even has a future.
Even the like last week we have a meeting with the new school with Myanmar, and the principal told us something about they want to.
Their goal is for Andrea to learn these life skills. So one day, if Andrea wants, she can have a job. Just to hear that, Andrea working, wait a minute. That's something that we've never even thought would be possible. It was just joy just to hear that, you know, that Andrea actually has a future in the community.
MHA is a great place. They have groups for teenagers, which is, I'll be honest with you, is really great. I've actually did a lot of their youth groups, and I still have certificates for doing those things. And they do things for people to teach people, parents and kids alike, about suicide prevention. They have all these skills that you can actually be able to use if you just contact them or look them up on the internet. They can help both you and your child.
One of the best things that MHA has done for me is help me build community. Was welcomed in at the beginning as a volunteer, got to know some of the folks on staff, got introduced to the storytellers, and there's that sense of community there and that shared experience that's so valuable when you're trying to go through a recovery. Being around people who understand. And oddly enough for me, because of some of my mental health issues, I deal with agoraphobia. It's basically under control right now because you can see I'm outside. I also deal with social anxiety. And one of the strange things about the pandemic was I was able to connect with people virtually and build these communities virtually that I probably at the time would not have been able to do in person. But as my comfort level has grown with these communities, that allows me to actually do it in the physical world as well. And I'm eternally grateful to MHA for giving me those opportunities, for helping me find communities that I can take part in. If there's someone out there that's struggling, maybe doesn't have a name for what that struggle is, like I didn't have a name for it, I wish I could go back and tell myself 10 years ago, talk to somebody. Just be honest and talk to somebody. Get that help you need. We all struggle at some point. We all need help at some point. And if I could tell me, let's go get the help. Go ask the question, go say those things that are difficult to say. Because the end result of letting it out, of talking, of recovering, it becomes a different world that you live in, and you don't have to suffer when you can speak.
One of the things with Mental Health America that I really love is that they touch base with everything when it comes to mental health and suicide prevention. Not only with learning about mental health disorders, but also its education, resources. When I'm doing the QPR training, I send them there. I tell people, I said, hey, they're great when you go into Mental Health America. Go to their resource page. You can find resources in your area. Not only resources, you can get educated. Besides me doing the QPR training, Mental Health America offers free training. They offer the coffee and conversation. They're very engaged. And one of my favorite things to refer people to with Mental Health America is the screening tool. I trained student athletes a couple of weeks ago, and they were asking me about, I'm dealing with anxiety. What's anxiety like? What's depression like? And I said, I got it. I'm gonna send y'all a screening tool for Mental Health America, and you can do your own personal screening. I sent it to the coaches. I said, because it's a great tool if one of your players comes in and says, hey, I think I'm struggling with something. You can send them the Mental Health America tool, the screening tool, and they can do their own screening, and once you do the screening, you can refer them to get help. So Mental Health America is kind of like a one-stop shop automatically for mental health, because it covers mental health, it covers suicide prevention, it covers the resources, it covers everything that you need to get the help that you need to make sure that you're okay. And that's why I'm such a big advocate for Mental Health America. They are such a wonderful, wonderful organization. And as I said before, it's very upbeat, and their goal is to make sure that we're educated with QPR and the different tools that they offer, the peer support. All of the things that Mental Health America does is geared towards recovery and mental wellness, and also learning the signs of suicide so we can save lives.
QPR is a process for actually learning what to do. It gives you steps on what to look for, how to react, what to say to that person, and how to respond. So those things that you have to look for, sometimes you may notice it in someone that you know and don't know that it's them being really about to commit suicide. Knowing these things and helping your child or your teenager know these things, they might actually save a person's life. And because of QPR, I have saved 2 people's lives. Because of that, I have noticed the signs because of it, and I've helped them get through that, which makes me feel really great because they have loved ones that now don't have to worry about losing them.
For me, my recovery has been learning how to deal with the issues, how to manage the symptoms. That's my recovery. My recovery is not going to be a huge celebratory story of, I'm cured. There's not going to be a ringing of the bell. There's never going to be that moment. But every day I get out and I do something, every time I tell my story, every time I have lunch with a friend, that's a victory. That's a recovery.